information off and we give it to them, how do we document whether or not the need got fixed, like back on our end?
That's on our end.
Okay.
So I think that would be, what your process is kind of how you guys wanna record. I would say what works best for you, but the way I would document is instead of getting in the weeds and saying like, hey, a family got a computer, your passing it off is that I connected to the family support line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's your documentation. Because the family support line, once I pass it over to the family support line now has their information, their number, and that's our job to follow and circle back and make sure that need is met. So your kind of like goal is making sure, did that family, which you guys can still log, I don't know your process, part of it may be based on the options we talked about, did I solve the problem right then? So if they did, George may say, oh, I gave the family the tech line. Right. And then that's your documentation. Or if you have to call the support line, I called the support line and shared the information for RPS to follow up. Right? Okay. Then that's your documentation, right? So I just don't know how y'all document, but that's what you could put is whatever you did to solve it, or if you did pass it out to the support line, or if you pass it out to a liaison, that would be your action. And I think the shift is thinking that your action is, I got them the laptop or what have you, you're passing it off to people who know the principal, who can do all that stuff. That's kind of outside of your realm. But your contact is, I'm putting you in touch with this person. But even before that, if we get really good, you may not have a lot of that stuff, because you can be like, we can call the tech line together right now. You don't need the family support line for that. You can be like, oh, I know we call the tech line. Let's do it right now. I know let's call food and nutrition. Let's do it right now. I don't need you to call the family support line to have them tell them the same thing. Right. You tell them that, but if it gets to the level where you're like, oh, I'm not sure, that sounds a little too involved, you know I can call the family support line. And then you're getting that information right away, and now you have that information to equip you for if that problem comes up again. You may be like, oh, I know what to do this. I know what to do now, or I call the family support line again.
Right. Okay. So are we still using drives? Because I know, Aaron, you have an actual drive with a lot of the information in there. And what we were doing with community members is bringing them in and teaching them how to actually use the drive, how to log on to Google, how to get inside the drive, how to add information inside the drive, and so on. Yeah. So will we still be using the drive that you created that had a lot of information in there as well, that we could go out and pull information?
We can still use the drive to hold important information if you feel that would be.
I don't know what the drive is.
It's just a Google Drive where I was keeping documents and like the meal distribution site. Different things where they could access.
So I don't want to confuse the two things. Okay. So before we go there, I don't want to confuse that with people feeling equipped to answer the problem and pass it off to those necessary supports, and then we'll come back with a clean one-pager, Aaron, like by the end of this week for them, about just like those key numbers. Then what I think, so that's one